Hello, and welcome back to the Epilogue of Sogravia, last Bastion, and I think it appropriate that I probably take off this sad shadow veil background. I'll bring us here. So, before we move on to the MVPs, I'm going to come to each of you and say, when you get to Milton, obviously your aim is to continue the fight to Ravenesca and to seek that out. That is a given, and you would stay as a party, and you would heal up the people who are damaged. But is there anything specific you would do in the next sort of 6 to 9 months that to solidify your beliefs, to focus in on your fight, to improve your skills, because it matters. In the next 6 to 9 months before making your way to the final fight. I'll start with Duff. Places.
I think sort of that 6 to 9 months would be a lot of playing back that entire sort of encounter back in his head and trying to remember and know all of the details to it, so that way next time we go into the fight it isn't so like remembering how were we able to defeat every single type of enemy, right? Like writing down all of like, okay, we fought this things, it was able to take this damage, right? Making sure like basically that next time we go at it, it is it, and there is not any surprises, so to speak.
There's a true sadness, because Glacius was so certain that this was where it ended, one way or the other, and it's still not done, one way or the other.
Yeah.
That must be tough to take. What about
A little
Obi?
bit.
The very first thing Obi would have done is look to see if his parents made it to Milturn with his dog, because he left his dog with them, because I ended up never using him the entire campaign. But
Brutus?
he would have just, there was too much stuff going on to use him, but that's okay. He would have made, and I still right now I don't know if they made it, but that's what Obi would have been doing. The very first thing, and
It's looking
after
good.
that he.
I rolled a
great,
dice.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
He finds his parents just after a few weeks of searching. He would find his parents.
Yeah, and besides that, though, he would have spent a lot of time researching. Now that I mean, a fucking level 18 spellcaster, he still doesn't know how he has magical powers.
I mean,
Since
technically
he's a sorcerer.
19.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but he still has no clue where it comes from. He would have spent a lot of his time searching his dragon heritage ancestry, trying to commune with it if it's possible. He has no clue, and really just learning about dragons and himself. And he also would have spent a lot of time communing with his god Denir, which he has recently gotten a lot closer to.
Michaela, what about our good friend Callum?
Can you repeat the question? Do you mean, like, what are we doing now that...
Leading up
Like-
to your final fight with Ravenesca, in
Oh,
the
I
6
see.
to 9 months, is there anything that would be important to your character, to your existence?
Okay, yeah, of course. You know, Callum's going to probably spend most of that time trying to make things right with his wife. And, you know, because... Yeah, he wasn't really planning to survive this big fight, and yeah, it feels like, but just in like in a fighting mindset, I think he would be trying to maybe produce some more fucking Sids, because he's so strong and badass, and if we could mass produce these things, wouldn't that be cool? So yeah, maybe just making
Oh,
another
yeah.
one. Making another Sid, right? Make him a brother.
Laura,
Side.
Sasha.
I have an important question, because I had ideas before this all happened, and things are a little different than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Is Solara alive?
Come on, we got the best ending. Not again.
I think so. I think what would have happened is The Elven Queen, Salmistra, would have given her life to preserve her daughters, keep her daughter out. So,
Is Ashen alive?
Sylara, yeah.
Yeah.
Sylara is alive, but she's the queen of the elves.
I think Ashen would like to serve under her in either a personal guard position, something like that. She's not been close to elven culture that she remembers, and Solara's really sparked something in her. She'd want to serve after seeing the way that Elliot felt about the king, and that loyalty kind of inspired her to want to know more.
Okay, I like that. But she would return to the party, to the Shadowhunters, to take on the final fight when it comes.
Whenever called upon, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jamel, what's Savile up to?
So, one of the first things I'd be doing is penning one additional volume, copies of it, one additional volume of the Shadowhunters, detailing everything that happened into the lands of Sogravia, everything that happened in terms of the combat, as much information as I can about the Shadow Veil that we learned within that window, and make sure it gets out as wide as possible so everyone knows what to expect and what to do. Following that, I would make attempts to rally with as many of the masters and headmasters of the Megas Arcane that survived. Is it just Rialdan?
No, he's gone.
He gave his life to keep you alive.
Ah, shit.
It's like 3 wizards.
Yakater
Yeah, and
left.
Yakater.
Yakato.
left. There are members of the Mages Arcane in Milton and in
Drathenor?
and in Eldessa. But they are a new brand, a new people. Almost unanimously, every member of the Mages Arcane, bar a few lower members, gave their lives in the defense of Sogravia.
Then I would seek out Vector and any others who made it out.
They have grand
Basically,
plans to build
pass
a
on.
tower on the Grand Genasi Confederacy. It's not going very well.
But nonetheless, I would make sure that within the Megas Arcane, in these new areas, that the story of Rialdan is known.
Yep.
That he gave as much for Sogravia as anyone possibly could.
He did.
And I would be seeking, much like how I, as Avril was a character, I would trained mages as well. Once again, seek to learn and train as much as I can.
Yeah.
Dueling, trying to increase mastery of magics. Literally just challenge dueling any and every mage and headmaster in attempts to just learn everything. Come as masterful as he can in preparation, so that when it comes time to take on Shadow Veil again, no wizard more capable than Zavril for it.
I like it. And Josh, what is Sullivan doing?
Well, I think with what he experienced using the ring, I think for a good portion of time, he'd probably be a little bit secluded. I think with Charlotte, but
to say with his wife.
yeah. But I think it really took a toll on him. Like, even if those people willingly sacrifice themselves, he still sees as him taking all of those lives and taking the king's life, which is obviously someone that he's always looked up to as a hero. But I think as he starts to heal from that trauma, he would obviously find his mum and dad and little sister, who are living in Milton, and obviously introduce them to Charlotte. I think they'd probably get married. You're all invited, of course.
I am?
Well, Sullivan doesn't know that you lied, so unless you tell him. So yeah, and then I don't think he, unlike everyone else who are want to get on their best shape for when it happens again. I think Sullivan just wants. He knows that they're going to have to fight again, so he wants to spend as much time as he can with his family and with Charlotte because he knows that they just about survived this time, and he doesn't know if they'll be that lucky again.
Mm-hmm. I can see where they're coming from. And
So it's time to pop a few kids in there whilst he's got some time.
well, there
you
is
could
somebody,
get one.
there is somebody else who agrees with you. Because Arman and Starling will inform you that for them, their fight is over.
Good.
They have decided that they've given enough. And that they want to go on and have a great honeymoon in Milton. Marcus wants to remain with you and stick to the fight, but before he does that, he works with Arman to extract Bungle from where Arman managed to put him in a portable hole as he left. And he will use his 9th level True Resurrection to give you
That's
Bungle
sweet.
back.
Thank God.
Oh
I'm so
no!
glad.
What really matters.
Did the goblins survive?
Yeah, they
They're
were in
in
your,
our-
they're
they're
in your
in-
lantern.
Okay.
They're in our lab.
Oh yeah,
Who
of course.
has the lamp? Who wants the
Oh
goblins?
yeah.
I think
Obi wants them. Obi, I thought about this. I meant to. I thought about this earlier today.
You
Obi
can
wants the
all
lamp so
keep
he can
the
hang out with the
lamp, right?
goblins.
Yeah, sure. I chucked the lamp to Obi.
But
Well,
you
I
would
think
all
it's-
meet in it, yes. Go on, Matt.
well,
I had a plan that Obi had something he wanted to do after, but I forgot to mention it.
Go on.
He wanted to
a
try
great time.
and use a. He wanted to try and use a wish spell when he regenerates his power to bring back Yen, if possible.
Aww.
I don't know if it's possible. I know.
It is,
Resurrection.
but you have to cast. You have to give me a D100.
Because I know Yen's body disappears, so basically the idea would be one wish is used to get her body back, the second wish would be used to get her back.
You
to
don't
life.
need to do that.
I will roll the D.
You just
can-
one
I will roll.
spell.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That's
Oh my
beautiful.
Do I have advantage?
Your one and only wish.
can we give that to Marcus for divine intervention?
You get Yen back,
Oh
and
man.
will never cast Wish again.
Actually,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
shit. All right.
Worth.
Obi's just like totally worth it. Never casting this again anyway.
Do I still
Yeah.
have a 9th level spell slot then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
You
you've
should
got two,
replace
haven't
it.
you?
No, you don't get to.
You get a second highest level spell slot. Or
Oh.
was that at the time? Was it 7?
You don't even get 2/8.
No. You got something very specific at a particular time.
Oh,
And you got, was it a 7th?
It was a 7th. Yeah. I got
Okay, right. It was your highest at the time, not your highest you're good. No, I just knew you got some weird ass extra spell slot at some point for some reason. Yeah,
That's how I
but
used 2/7.
Marcus will stay with you in the fight, as will Bungle, unless you offer him shelter with the goblins. He'd fucking love that. Your
I mean, I
good
think
friend,
we would.
your good friend the tree.
Oh, you made it.
Free.
No, he's gone forever.
Yeah.
Aww.
He was rooted to the ground, I suppose.
He's gone back to the earth.
Well, the Shadowvale probably.
He's probably
into
still
pieces
there,
and
but all
used it as
corrupted.
firewood.
And...
Don't say that, James.
I'm sure he spread his seedlings to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Shadowvale.
Sure he did. So, it comes to a more timeless tradition. And I'll ask you for your session MVPs. I'll start with you, man.
Oh, Jesus.
Just your MVP for
Can
this
we come
session.
back to me at the very end because
Okay,
I
no.
have.
I'll start with someone
I can
else.
go.
Garth. Josh, go.
Yeah, I can go first. Mine is, I mean, there was so many moments, but I'm sure everyone will take them. So I'm gonna take Obi carrying Sullivan's dead body through the portal.
One of the few
Very,
predictions
very
about
slowly.
about this ending that I got right.
Yeah.
I'll be
As many
carrying
did. It's a
Sullivan
good-
out. I was pretty
it's a
certain
good thing
it
we
would,
didn't-
it would be that way around.
It's a good thing we didn't put money on that bet, really.
Yeah. Elora.
Okay, I have 4. They're little ones because I'd
Go
like
ahead,
to
go ahead,
bring
fill
out
them.
little lines. So it's Michaela, get me pictures of Spider-Man.
That's a good one.
Okay.
I had forgotten about that.
Matt, or really Obi, I'm gonna nullify your life, bitch.
Oh my god. yes.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I really liked the 1v1 mechanic taking one enemy and one person out. I thought it was really cool. But my big one is, I mean, getting the final shot is huge, but it wouldn't have been possible without Obi's final battle cry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would not have had as much damage. I probably wouldn't have hit without that advantage.
I will tell you that if you didn't break those crystals, the next thing Rockers was going to do was send Sullivan and Marcus.
Ooh.
That's what I thought the original.
Battle Royale.
I thought
That's what I
originally
thought
it
was
was
about
sent
to
I
happen
two-
wanted,
too.
I
two of us
wanted
to
to
fight each other.
display that the victor could leave, and he was going to send Sullivan and Marcus, and he was not going to bring them back. I was just going to leave them there until one of them victored over the other, or you shattered the crystals.
I was gonna say that was never gonna happen.
No healing,
Never.
no healing, no aura. That was my plan.
Yeah, that.
And then
Wow.
you shatter the crystals. Well, Pat had said, like, if they don't shatter the crystals, just make it worse and worse. So I was like, all right, I will. Well, that was the next round. I wanted to kill Obi first. Michaela, oh, sorry, Honora, you had one more line,
That's
was
it.
it?
That's it.
Oh, okay, Michaela, your MVP.
Yeah, nice big fight. I told you guys we were fine from the start. Just
Fine.
losing Bungo. Like I said, only an NPC would fall. I think, but actually, Bungo will get my MVP for just his counter spell. He got I don't remember what he counterspelled right at the beginning, but got a nat
Wall of
20.
fire.
Yeah, and I was like, why is his spellcasting modifier intelligence, first of all?
It's not
But
his,
then
it's the chain.
Oh, right, yeah,
Yep.
but then he showed me and then died very heroically, but it came back to us, so yeah. I'm happy we killed it.
Matt, session MVP.
James, you put me through the ringer today.
Good.
Oh yeah.
You put up a spell
Um,
that was negating 90% of what I had. Of course I was going to put you through the fucking ringer. My fucking silly spear of fuck off. I was having none of that.
Oh yeah. It's
Can't
good.
dispel it.
Nah, I was actually going through it bad. And I would like everyone to know I messaged Darth on the side. I was not mad or upset on Darth's decision to attack the enemy. I was upset not at Darth. I was just upset about the whole situation.
He
So,
had
I
a
just wanna make that clear.
12d8 force damage crushing blow coming
Yeah.
Darth's way with 30 HP if he tried to get away. He was dead as fuck.
I just want to make it clear. I messaged him.
Yeah.
I was not upset at him. I was upset about Obi dying. But that entire the second I did the twin spell disintegrate, and you told me I went down, I came back with 1 HP. The second that happened, I spent the next 20 to 30 minutes waiting for you to use death on me, or power word death, or kill, whatever the spell's called.
Power word kill.
I knew it was coming. The entire time I was going through it, 30 minutes literally
Not even bother.
waiting for it to happen, and I was literally planning out, rather than figuring out how to survive, I was planning out something
How to
cool to do
die.
with my death.
Yeah.
And
I
and
did
then
that on
after I got
Tuesday. On Tuesday, I said, like, how Stack's gonna die?
then after it happened, I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Which obviously happened, and then I died anyway after that. But
Yeah.
I
You
just-
survived
I did-
a melee range murder at 1 hit point and a power word kill.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing big to
I've
stick
never.
out.
The only other time I've gone through it like that in a D&D session was I don't.
Lady
Do you remember
Fury?
the last? Was that the last fight we did in Drathnor?
It wasn't actually the last fight, but you guys felt like it was the last fight. Where Laura finished
Very
it with
last
the
big
oil.
fight. I don't remember.
1 hit point.
Oh.
She had 1 hit
I-
point.
Yeah.
I remember there was maybe I guess it probably Lady Fury with the multiple phases and stuff.
Yeah. Multiple phases. You were all down except her, and she killed it because of the oil.
Yeah, all I remember about that fight was there was charisma saves, and I had to roll a nat 20 where I failed it every time.
Attaboy. Yeah, but today it was like that, right?
Charisma
It was
saves
it was
suck.
tough. It was tough. What about you, Duff? Your MVP for today's session?
I'm gonna be honest, I got a lot. Everyone staying in character was a great one. I said this during the break, but that was something I felt like was kind of missing in the at the end of Good Sogravia, is that we were playing very meta. We weren't playing to the characters as much as we should have been. So I really liked all of that. I liked everything that Marcus is able to do. I felt like he was a lot more important this time around, and he very much felt like the Kyo of this campaign, But I felt like I also just did it right this time, as something I didn't do in previous Good Sogravia.
You got it right.
I liked. It was just everything. Most of all, it was my, and I kind of feel a little selfish saying this. It was my decision to, as much as I wanted to be the hero who focused, Raucous or focused the big bad, I was like, no. I have to play this how Glacius would. He would be thinking about, okay, we need to take out as many of them as we can, so that way we are to protect it as much as possible. And especially in that moment with Obi, it was a very hard decision for me when I started missing attacks and I wasn't dealing enough damage, and I was just like, fuck, I'm not gonna be able to get Obi back because I had already planned on Marcus using Wish to heal that turn. So I was like, fuck, Obi's not gonna be able to get back for it.
Do you know the saddest thing? You were 20 damage off, I think, of the crystal. That was it. And then our man rolled a 15 damage just to be a dumbass. That's take a second try.
And I say that's another thing too. I think single-handedly I did more damage this fight than I have throughout the entire rest of the campaign.
That potion of giant size is not the potion I think I intended to give out at some point. I have no idea that potion existed. I've never seen it before. I have no idea that it even existed in D&D Beyond.
It's fantastic.
It's not meant to be that. It's meant to be a potion of growth.
That was on the list as well.
Yeah,
but
I just read that on the list.
I've never seen that potion
before.
I've never heard of it. I didn't even know it was a thing. Or it might be a potion of giant strength that I meant, but I had never heard of that potion. And when you pinged it, I was like, what kind of idiot DM would give that out? That was my thought.
Because that stacked with an unget-riddable haste on top of it.
I could have got rid of it, but it would have cost me an action, yeah.
But at the same time, Glacius isn't that much of a threat. I think it single-handedly made Glacius an actual... It made him an actual force in this fight. Killing the Warlord, killing half the fucking minions, killing the Reaper, right? All things that needed to happen, but we didn't. But at the same time, I was just like, I don't want to waste Astron. I don't want to waste Stalling. I don't want to waste any of our casters' turns trying to do this. I think I can do it, and that's why I wasted so many action surges at the beginning of the fight, hitting those really big guys.
Because I was well done by everyone.
They need to die.
Jamal, your MVPs.
Right. So I've got to agree with Michaela on the Nat 20 to stop the wall of fire. That was funny.
That was
as far as
hilarious.
damage goes, we had some really amazing turns from Glacius in terms of damage. Sneak attack crits, big Bee's hand with the crit. That was
114 damage for Marcus. Love that.
The best part was that he took it.
He was fine, yeah.
Yeah, to Raucous as well, though. That's the other thing. I have to say, a big +1 to your mechanics in this fight as well. The banishment really gave me the Shiro Togachi vibes. You'd be the only one to know that, of course. But
yeah. I got it.
The
was definitely there were a lot
idea
of
from Slay the Spire, that was cool.
Yeah, the damage caps and all sorts else. There was so much going on. A lot of stuff that you guys couldn't see as well. That was pretty fun. One thing that might interest you is the first two characters you killed, bar the little mooks. The guy with the huge maul and the person with the two who threw the dagger.
The shadow knives?
Were the two people who had permanent kill mechanics. So if they had have killed you, there was no resurrecting you.
So I'm glad I killed them.
They were the they both of them, if they reduce you to 0, if they kill you outright, you go to ash.
I thought that's what Power Word Kill did.
No, Disintegrate does.
Disintegrate turning to ash. Yeah.
Disintegrate. I think there is a spell that makes it so that way only true resurrection can bring you back. It might be Disintegrate I'm thinking of.
Yeah, there's lots of ones like that. Disintegrate is one of them. But yeah, sorry Jamal, carry on.
So, yeah, it's alright, all good. I got some other funny things and epic moments.
Where am I going?
Josh getting really stun-locked on one of Rielden's turns and not knowing what to do and going a thunderclap. I found that
yeah, that was hilarious.
You know what? You know what?
Damage, I'm sat there going, huh?
You know what it is that I was saving my 5th level spell slot to revivify Obi, and then I was like, okay, I can't, because I'm not gonna get out in time. And I need to do something about this. And I was like, if I can get him to leave, then that might count as me being the victor. So I was like, okay, I'll banish it. And I was like, okay, that's great. And then when you were like, this guy can't leave playing, I was like, I've not even spent any time looking at Rialden, and now my turn's wasted.
Yeah, it was
I
tough, it was
can't
tough.
deal with that.
I will say
it was a
that
tough
was
fight.
that was very hard. Is that I felt like there were multiple turns where people were like, "This is what my plan is," and for one reason or another, it just got scrapped, and we're just like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
"Fuck, what the hell do we do now?"
Yeah. No, I think it was
Yeah.
Another Josh moment. Sorry, I can't come to work. I got PWK'd.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Sorry.
I
It's
got
like,
power word
so that's what I told my manager, and I was like, I've just killed you. Like, these two things just happened at the same time. I was like, okay. I carry on.
Josh looked
Another
up.
fun
Josh
moment.
looked up. He went, "What?"
Yeah, literally. I was like, I'm typing. What are you doing?
That was funny. Michaela moment with Callum getting resistance to paralyzing touch and no quip. I'm married.
Yeah, that was great.
That was good.
I do really think it was a cool one, Steve Glacius making that tough choice, taking out the big guy and
Yep.
risking Obi not being left alive. That was a tough choice.
Yeah.
That was a moment.
Yeah.
Plot twist during a finale, return of the Chiavo play, and that was a nice one to see. The meta magic counterspell save at 9th level to avoid getting
Yeah,
killed.
distance spell.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly worked out
Yeah.
how Rockus was doing it.
Oh yeah.
Was that what happened, Matt? Did you suddenly realize how Rockus was doing it at greater distance, and then?
I'm gonna
do
be
the same
honest.
thing?
No, I literally was just looking at my shit. I'm like, wait a second, can I do this? It had nothing to do with me thinking
Okay,
about how Rock
good.
did it. It didn't even cross my mind.
I love
honestly
that about
thought-
you as a player, Matt.
Yeah.
I honestly
I
thought that Rockers
assumed
should have the
Rockers could
distance
ju-
spellcaster
yeah.
feat for it.
He does.
I just assumed
he has a
Rockus-
distance spell feature
Ah,
of spells above
I
7th
assumed
level.
he could just cast spells further than normal just because he's cool. That's what
Specifically,
I assumed.
spells.
Pretty
7th
much.
He can cast spells of 7th level and above at double the range, and touch spells at 30 feet if they're 7th level or above.
Yeah, I
That's
figured
his
he was
mechanic.
just cool.
Yeah, I think he was just cool. He was cool.
it was
I
very cool.
would like to add Michaela hitting the getting her construct destroying weapon out. I mean, like, I'm going in.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
like, I think I get an extra 2d8 of bludgeoning damage. Just like, you can have an extra 200 d8, love. It's immune.
I have
God,
never
yeah, that was
gotten to
cool.
kill a construct with that, so I'm throwing
Yeah.
it in the trash.
That giant is fucking.
Yeah, it has immunity to everything except piercing, thunder, slashing, and force. And it's resistant to piercing and slashing damage. It also had 800 hit points. So it was going to take you a fucking while to kill.
yeah.
The entire point of it was you either shut it down
blood
with
pressure.
some sort of, because it did have, like, you could have shut it down with like some in-save spells and stuff. There was one, I was thinking about Time Loop, for example, was one way of shutting it down.
Yeah, I also thought about Maze.
Maze is another one that could have been used,
Yeah.
exactly. There are a few ways you could have shut it down. I'm not sure Maze would have worked, actually, because it can't be portaled anywhere. I don't know if it's another dimension.
To another. It's not.
Another
I'm not
it's
sure.
like
I
a-
have to read it. But yeah, there
Yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
were definitely some things you could have used to shut it down. Ironically, Tasha's hideous laughter could have put it out the fight for the entire fight. Same with hypnotic pattern. Like really low level spells can shut that out completely and just leave it irrelevant.
Holy
But
crap.
fighting it was never the right ploy. And you guys did really well to be like, until it was just him and Rockus, and you knew that hitting Rockus hurt Marcus, who, by the way, probably did die to Ashwin's crit. With the soul tether.
Marcus
But I
summed
wasn't
it
too
down.
worried about
he was
that.
he was already dead.
That's what I mean.
okay,
No,
I
he
have
was
Revivify.
down. Oh, he was power word
No,
killed. Yeah,
he
you're
was
right,
power
you're right.
word killed.
South
He
Tether
was
broke.
dead.
South Tether broke, yeah.
Right.
But anyway, I do think there were lots of really cool moments in that sense. But actually, for me, my MVP goes back 5 hours. How fucking quickly you decked those demons. Devils,
Oh, yeah.
devils, not demons. The Wall of Force was great.
Still
Shutting
5
them
hours
out.
later getting it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And my particular favorite moment of that entire fight was somebody said, I want to get these lemures off my shoes. And it was either Michaela or Laura, I can't remember who. It was like, get them off my
Great.
shoes. It was
Yeah,
great.
that was. They look like slime.
They
Get out
do,
of here.
They do. Okay, I am going to try and
of
keep
more
this.
little things
Oh,
real quick.
come on, Jamal. We are 6 hours and 20 minutes deep. There was nothing else that exciting in this session.
No, okay, I've got one big thank you then to Josh. This is a real big point of pride for me. In the group chat in Discord, Josh was like, Jamal taking professional pictures of his cat. That's why he's always AFK. That was quite the endorsement. Thank you. That was
yeah.
probably like my third ever picture with that camera that I took. And I
Nice.
love the fact that you loved it.
That
Thank you.
you're welcome. That is also one of my MVPs too.
Let's
Someone
move
mute
on
Jamal.
to the question of what you enjoyed about your own character. And I'll start with Allura. What did you enjoy about playing Ashen?
I mean, what didn't I enjoy? I love the sneaky rogue character. I mean, she could climb up. I got these freaking slippers of spider climbing before we started, and I have not taken them off one time.
Was there
No, you
They
did
have been
once
My
when
companion.
when you lost one
well,
of the
okay,
shoes.
there was a little moment there, but it's fine. It's just so much fun to be far away and just snipe things from a distance and be invisible half the time. And
Need me to
a
make
lot of fun.
extra spaces on the battle map?
My
Zoom
favorite
out.
question: how high is the ceiling?
Yeah. We're gonna have no verticality in Milton at all. Everybody's gonna be on the same floor.
I should
Oh,
hope
yeah.
I'm
Banning
wrong.
that.
Banned from going up or down the entire campaign. But yeah, what else did you enjoy? Like, what did you enjoy
Stairs.
about her?
No.
What did you enjoy about her as a person?
I mean, I enjoyed like it was different coming in with no past
Mhm.
memories, but she still got to like explore bits and pieces of it, and I think that was just really fun.
Yeah.
Just a different way to go about things. I'm like still curious about things that I'll never get answers for, but you know.
Yeah. You won't. Mostly because I don't know them. Michaela, what did you enjoy about playing Callum?
Yeah, I love this guy. You know, Artificer was the first class I ever played in D&D, and so it was very fun to get to
Jesus.
such a high level. I know.
That's complicated.
I dive in head
What
first.
if I D&D? Let me just get the entire manual out.
Yeah.
One of my best friends started with Artificer
yeah.
too.
No, that's
Yeah,
good.
and so it's like always been one of my favorites. I just like characters with like a trade and a craft and a skill. Yeah, I really liked this homebrew subclass, which normally I'm not really that drawn to homebrew stuff a lot of the time, but yeah, this was like it was a lot pretty complicated and a lot of like changing stuff around every time my proficiency bonus changed or whatever, so there was like homework with Callum.
Yes, there
But-
was. I saw it all.
But that fit his character, and I mean, he's so freaking. Callum himself did not take any damage this fight. It was all.
Callum
Sid.
barely took any damage this campaign.
Yeah, and
As
so
of
it's like.
Sid.
Just in
Yeah, and so
just
it's
in
like-
Mistralia. That is it. That's the only time Callum ever took a hit.
Yeah, because Sid was gone. So yeah, I just really loved how tanky he was, and at first, like those first levels, like before he got his Great Weapon Master, it was kind of like. I guess some like growing pains, like he wasn't quite.
It was a
playing
tank
how I
fallacy.
wanted
Like, he
him
didn't
to.
really do any damage or anything.
Yeah, but like once I got to that, like it was like certain level when I got like Great Weapon Master, and it was just Callum really hit his stride when I got haste and everything. So yeah, it was a lot of fun playing this guy. But as a person, I do like playing like older characters.
Mhm.
My first character was actually like an old alchemist. But yeah, you know, originally Callum was going to be very serious, very focused on like defeating the Shadow Veil, and that's it. But you know what? That was actually kind of Glacius's thing. So I kind of leaned more into Callum's, I guess, his oldness, and kind of had fun being maybe a little strange, like giving out hard candy when people do a good job, and just
Well,
being
those
like.
originals.
Just being like slightly, you know, old man racist to those Yuan-Ti. Like, just kind of like, yeah, so he was like a fun guy to play. I also liked kind of his subtle arc he had with Sid and Nye, where kind of, I think at the beginning, they, like, he only called them like it, and, you know, like didn't think of Sid and Nye as like,
Beings.
beings. Yeah, and by the end, you know, Naya is his son, and Sid is also his son. Leaving him in Mistralia in that cave was like a very hard moment. So, yeah, I really like that little development he had. Just unplanned, just kind of happened that way.
Matt,
Yeah.
what did you enjoy about playing Obi?
Well, Obi is the complete antichrist of me as a D&D player. I hate playing spellcasters. I like playing melee characters.
Let's go.
Yeah, my favorite class is barbarian. That's known. I've never actually played a spellcaster like this long term before, or even at all, not including Shar's. The only time I ever played a spellcaster, which was a mini
And
5-level campaign.
A bard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Shawan was a
that
bear, so it didn't count.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like even like personality wise, I am, and we talked about this in the other game that just ended. I like to play D&D without thinking. I do the first thing that comes to my mind and I act. I don't care about the consequences. And with Obi, I've really had to consider everything and really take a step back, which I don't do ever. And it was and it's weird because I don't think I'm ever gonna love a character more than I love Obi.
Aw.
Even though he's the complete opposite of the character that I will always love to play.
It's those challenging characters that get you, right? They make you
Yeah,
really
they
step
really
into
do.
their shoes and think about how they feel.
Like I'm not joking. Like I was so fucking upset when he died today. Like I was so upset. Like if Togork died on Tuesday, I wouldn't have given a shit.
No, me neither. Yeah, I'm
I've-
glad. I'm
I've-
glad. Go on, man.
Yeah,
I have a
no,
question.
Yeah.
Now that the campaign's over, can you tell us what the pecking
No,
order
no, no,
was?
no,
on
no. I want to
Obi?
get to that later. I want to get to that later. Hold that thought. Anything else, Matt, about what you enjoyed playing about Obi?
I learned a lot about just in general. I learned a lot about spellcasting stuff just for playing him, and I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it would, and I'll actually look forward to playing spellcaster in the future now.
Good.
I still like melee characters more, but
I can see that by your
genu-
choices for the rest of the trilogy.
But I
Look forward to
I
playing
will-
spellcaster somewhere else.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really like playing.
Duth, what did you enjoy about playing Glacius?
Oh, Glacius. He... At the end of the day, Glacius was probably my first real character. Good Sogravia wasn't my first campaign, but it was the first one that like I dived in, had a real story in. And Glacius always held a special place in my heart, so getting to come back to him was like a big treat. Which is why when we announced and said we were doing this again, even though I know Jamal said he didn't want to go back to Roscoe, I was like, I want to do Glacius again, and I want to do him justice, because from the ending of that to completely onward, I felt like I never did him I never did him justice, right? And I feel like I really did that this time. And while I did lean into the wackiness, silliness, because at the end of the day, that is just who I am as a person, and so I will probably always still do that to an extent.
Everyone's a bit silly when you're playing D&D.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Glacius was always still serious when he needed to be serious, which I felt like was a very strong strength as me as a player, because I usually don't do that very much. But also, I think I had a similar problem with that Michaela had, which was that in those early stages, before like getting a lot of the things that ended up making me really strong, later, it was a lot of growing pains, and it was a lot of semi-reconsidering the character, just being like, man, I don't feel like this is working, right? And then when everything started to come online, I was just like, he is who he is. But also, at the end of the day...
Lots of hits.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think my favorite part about playing him was going against the party in so many choices. The constant Sullivan saying like, oh, blah, 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 right? Or the party being like, oh, I don't know if we should do this, right? Glacius was always a man who, at the end of the day, considered what everyone was saying, but always did what he felt was right. Putting on the abyssal armor, in that moment, it felt right to him. And he only took it off because was solely for, one, he had more options now, right? But like he never regretted putting the armor on, and like everything that he ever did as a character. And very much, I'm surprised he lived, because I was very much prepared to kill him off, like completely, because I as a character, I don't think he to an extent wanted to survive.
I think there was a lot of that in the end. I think there were 4 people who were very willing to die for the cause. There was Matt and Laura who had no fucking intentions of dying whatsoever.
No. Don't get it wrong. I would have.
You were prepared to die, of course, but you very much didn't want to.
I would have.
Whereas I think
I would have done if I had to.
In the other players' heads, there was definitely an element of, well, you know, this might be something. This might be. I think some people had images of a heroic sacrifice to save their friends, whereas other people were very much like, I want my character to be alive at the end of this. If possible.
Ashton could have booked it.
Yeah.
She'd be like, I'm out. Peace.
Exactly. But yeah, I do agree, Darth. I do think you did him justice. I really do. Mal, what did you enjoy about playing Zavril?
Honestly, in terms of like playstyle, playing a wizard in another different way has been an eye opener again. It's been a bit of an interesting and wild one because if you remember thinking back to Beldania, the idea of starting out Chiavo as a character that was very much going against what the normal archetype of what wizards do is, and picking up all kinds of different non-standard things and trying to make that work. I had a lot of that feel again with this, but with an entirely different flavour, and that was that was so much fun with Warcaster. That was a lot of thinking in terms of how do I want to do this? How do I keep this within the flavour and still find space to do something constructive?
Very Jamal character.
It felt like a bit of a puzzle to play, and that was really good fun. I loved that.
Did you enjoy him being dead?
Zavril
on Ice.
No.
No?
Oh my word, Zavril on Ice was just a funny moment. The one slip up, one sort of like thought of carelessly, just what's the worst that could happen? Just check this out, and then boom, whoops.
And Darth knew.
It
was him last time.
I should
It was
have
me
known.
last time. I knew it was coming after that fight with
Oh,
Ruckus.
that hurts.
It was good. Josh,
And as well as in terms of characters, like, even though I didn't take Zavril into Mistralia, I took Yen instead. It was
Bittersweet.
It was very difficult to play 2 characters like that and going back from one to playing another.
That's tough. It's tough for anyone. Yeah.
But it was also really, really fucking fun.
Good.
Being able to get to actually play 2 characters like that and really enjoying actually seeing Yen's kit, even if I just ate
I'm
shit
very
with her.
glad that's how it was for you. In Strahd, I temporarily played another character in the middle, and it almost ran the campaign for me. So I'm very pleased that for you
I
it
loved
ended up
it,
being a
but
fun
it was
experience.
hard. And I felt like you bullied me in the campaign so fucking much whenever you had a chance to, and it was funny.
So no,
I
that's
can't even be mad
That's
about
going
it.
to be the theme in every
I know,
campaign we
I
ever
know,
play together.
I
It's just
know.
enjoyable.
It was fun.
Getting to turn around and say the golem's going to punch you in the face, God, that
That's
felt
how we
good.
do.
Josh, tell me what you enjoyed about playing Sullivan.
So making Sullivan was really weird because, like, when we were making characters for the campaign, I've had previous experiences in campaign where I've unintentionally made a character that goes against the party in terms of like morality or their goals and stuff like that. And so with Sogravia, I didn't want to repeat that, and so I was like, where heroes fighting against Dios, I was like, I'm gonna make the most classic hero, knight in shining armor. He's gonna be best friends with everyone. He's gonna get along with everyone. And then the party are like, I think we want to trade with that guy selling illegal gold. And I'm like, I just can't win with anything I make.
No, I'm going to wear the abyssal armor.
I know. I'm like, guys, but he was my first time playing a paladin. And I wouldn't go that far. I was very on the fence when we started. I was like, oh god, have I made a bad decision here? And I did enjoy Paladin, although I probably won't play one again for a long while. But I did really enjoy him. I enjoyed playing that very like goodly, doesn't lie, is really honest, is kind, and puts everyone first, and he was really enjoyable to play, especially in contrast with someone like Glacius, who will do anything to stop it, and having that having us butt heads was really enjoyable because you can't do that with every player you play with, and so it was really nice to be able to do that.
We do that normally, Josh.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just natural.
It's like perfect.
And also just a slight. I really liked. I was in a campaign with Michaela called Dinosaur of Kalan, and I played a hippie barbarian called Nico, and he spoke Goblin, and we had our first encounter with goblins. I tried to make peace with them and didn't want to fight them, and we ended up killing them. And then with Sullivan, I was like, he's gonna speak Goblin, and I am going to protect some goblins.
Wow.
And then we not only managed to save some goblins, we managed to adopt some goblins, and I was like, I have come full circle. I can stop giving all of my characters the ability to speak Goblin. That is finally a closed chapter.
You've made up for killing those babies.
Thick skull,
Exactly.
fat skull, sheep's bane, and pig sticker.
They're
Yes,
so cute.
The true MVPs of Sogravia.
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah, truly.
So I will ask you, and if you can try and keep this a little concise, it would be nice. But I will start with Matt and say, what did you enjoy about playing alongside other people? About not the players, the characters. What did you enjoy about other people's characters? About the table as a whole, etc.
You want me to talk about strictly characters, not the players?
In an ideal world, yeah. What did you enjoy about the characters people brought and how they played them? I guess would be the right way to say it.
Oh, I mean, there was a very wide range of personalities with everyone in terms of how everyone played their characters, which I thought which is always great for any game. But the way I played Obi was really based off of the other characters. That was the plan, and I really enjoyed reacting to how everyone else did things. Like Obi getting upset when, like early on in the campaign, the entire first half of the campaign, when Sullivan and Basis would get into an argument or fight, like, Obi would be mortified, and like seriously, like he'd be so upset, and it was really nice. I came to this campaign with no real
Expectations?
no real exact way I want to play Obi. It was he was going to be entirely foreign based off of your guys' characters.
It was a blank slate.
It was a sheep.
Yeah, it's plan.
A child for us to mold.
That's exactly what it was, and that's what happened. So it was awesome.
And look what we made him into.
I know he's a badass now.
Michaela, what did you enjoy about other players at the table, other characters at the table, and the way that they were played?
Yeah, like Matt said, I like how different everyone was. I liked the friendships that formed, like Obi and Sullivan. But I'm gonna talk about Glacius and Callum because I thought that they were sweet brothers. And you know what Darth was saying before about how Glacius was always like more pragmatic. That is how I tried to play Callum too, which is how I think we ended up like we did the Furian Guard together. Like I think we were the ones who were willing to listen when someone obviously evil is talking to us. It's like, let's hear them out at least and see what they have to say, even if we know we're not going to go with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
agree, but you know.
Yeah, it was just nice how like a lot of natural sort of reactions. Chemistry? Yeah, a lot of natural chemistry and like friendships formed from our group. I really liked that interaction of us together.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah.
And Laura, what did you enjoy about other people's characters and the way they played them?
I mean, everybody's commitment was great. The combat between Glacius and Sullivan was always fun to watch. And the commitment to like their own roles, like I mean the cooking with the potatoes.
Oh my god,
always.
Yeah. Potatoes, let's go!
Yes.
Obi's complete
Two more
overjoyedness and
campaigns.
love of the goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Just everybody's. And I'm gonna leave it there because I'm really tired. And
It's okay. We're getting there. We're getting there, I promise. Josh.
I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but just like everyone else said.
It's a fairly simple line question.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was great. Everyone's roleplay was great. I love that we all had different like viewpoints on how we wanted to like tackle different quests and how we approached different factions and different people. Was really great. I think like the classism subclasses that we all took were really interesting and blended well in like really weird, like unexpected ways. That was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Jamal?
I would say a lot about this, but I can't because it's
No, because
been
it's 7
here
a.m.
so long and I'm brain fried. So,
Keep it simple.
honestly, one thing that I have to mention that I found really amazing about the characters and interactions that hasn't been mentioned was we had Sullivan with Charlotte and the whole dating and everything, and the way people would like gently but supportively sort of rib Sullivan about that one, and just little bits of interacting, mocking the camaraderie of that. Little moments and little things like that were fun. It was like
There was a definite brotherly banter between a lot of you.
yeah.
Duff.
And
Oh, sorry, go on, Jim.
oh yeah, no, that was fair. I was just going to say about how I liked the way we all had different thoughts and approaches on things like dealing with. Also, the moment that sticked out for that was the sort of not arguments but discussions and different conclusions that we ended up reaching about, say, the giants and also
there's
like
split
the
opinions
sovereignty
is
and
a huge
everything
part of it.
surrounding the giants, things like that. Just the way we sort of discuss things and all the different viewpoints around that. It just made it really interesting for that, and I could say a lot more about that, but
you
I
won't.
I won't because yeah.
Glacius, Darth. What did you enjoy about people's characters and the way they played them?
I enjoyed. So, as it's sort of in a player sense, this was like my first time playing with like a lot of people at this table, and so, or in a sense that a real campaign, right, or just in a general sense. So that I really enjoyed playing with everybody. I enjoyed how much closer the characters felt this time around than in Good Sogravia, because I felt like in Good Sogravia we were just kind of together because we kind of just felt like we knew it was a campaign and we had to be, but this time it very
there was a
much
bond.
felt all of those relationships, and I commend everybody for at least everyone, I think, once during the campaign had to play against their character, whether it be for a story reason or there's some effect that is forcing them to play against their character. And it is not easy over the year it's been consistently keeping up a character, right? Especially with all of the breaks that happened in between.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
can agree. And my final question, hopefully. What did you enjoy about the campaign and any moments that stood out for you? And I'll start with Allura.
Well, the biggest mystery-ish that's still out there, what has now happened to the yellow hat guy?
Oh yes.
Oh my god, right?
The true quest that we never solved.
I did think about this
fucking
like an hour ago.
Don't worry.
They're still out there.
There's
God
more to
damn
come.
it.
Waiting.
They're still around.
Oh,
Oh, good.
But yeah, what else did you enjoy about the campaign and in general? Like as a whole, what did you enjoy about it?
I mean, it was just so much fun. I mean, having a home base was also something that I haven't really done in any campaign.
3 home
so
bases.
having that just to play around with was just really fun, really new. Really enjoyed that, and just we did some side questing, which I really enjoyed, even though we tried not to get too distracted most of the time.
Not lost in the sauce.
I can agree. I think you definitely managed to stay relatively on track.
I kind of still wish we had gone down for the giant's treasure, whatever it was that was down in
Yeah.
the mountain. I really wanted to do
the
that.
ads
Never did
of
it.
Anam.
It's
Yeah, that
lost
would've been
to
so
history.
Yeah. Josh, what did you enjoy about the campaign as a whole? Any moments that stood out for you?
Yeah, so a small little moment was when we were all, it was before session had started, and we were all on Roll20, and we were designing our bedrooms in the
Oh, that was
house.
cute.
Yeah.
That was fun. Obviously, a big part of the campaign was going into. Oh yeah, there we are.
Yay.
A big
My
part of.
house.
Look
I
at
like
us
that
now.
Several's blank.
In the goblin room.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yes. Obviously, a big part of the campaign was going into the Shadowlands, into Mistralia, and that was so much fun because it had been so talked about and hyped up before we got in there, and then you don't really know what to expect, and then when we're in here, we're like, oh, hell does exist. It is here. And it was amazing, and I loved all the like negative benefits that we had, the issues we had with like casting magic in storms,
The tea.
yeah, all of that, all the different like personal effects that were on each other, and seeing those, how they played out and interacted with other people who had other things going on, and yeah, it was just, I think that was probably the big standout for me. Oh, and also a little shout out to. Wait, what?
Remember when I tried to murder you all? That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good
And also
times.
a little shout out to Jamal, because leaving your character behind is not an easy thing to do, and pick up a random NPC. So shout out to you, Jamal, for rolling with it.
Especially being the Shadowlands was such a roleplay heavy moment as well. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that was a tough ask. Jamal, what did you enjoy about the campaign as a whole? Any specific moments that stood out for you? You are limited to 3.
Yes. So obviously the whole
Mouse
arc
specifically.
with the whole giants and the big conflict around that was an especially interesting arc for me. Things surrounding that. It was very interesting for me, the whole feel of the campaign of having this insurmountable task, not the Shadow Veil being the insurmountable task, but trying to unite such a fucking divided Sogravia. It felt like as if being thrown in the deep end of a pool and just paddling, trying to keep your head afloat, and not having any idea where we were going, what we were doing, and just fumbling about, trying to see what worked and what we could make work. That is such an overwhelming thing, but it made the campaign so fucking interesting with that. It's like, how are we going to make all this work? And, of course, Mistrali being a motherfucker. That's my last one to give on that one. That it was
good.
harrowing, and I still enjoyed it.
Duff, what did you enjoy about the campaign as a whole? Any moments that stood out?
Yeah, I enjoyed the campaign a lot. Again, this is like my first real campaign, so coming back to it was really, really nice. And I think, like, as weird as it sounds, my favorite part of the campaign was basically knowing exactly how this campaign ends. No one else here, except kind of Jamal, but even then, I don't think Jamal, he wasn't here for the full thing, so he doesn't know, right? I knew everything that was going on. I knew exactly what needed to get right, and it felt great. And I said this to my friends, I've said this to my girlfriend, I said this to this party, and I said it to myself so many times that this time I'm getting it right. And it felt so good. I'm not gonna lie, I almost cried when we came back and everything was still destroyed. I was like, I swear to fucking God, if we failed again, I think I would have been like, I need to go. I don't think I can be here. But then you being like, there's literally nothing else you could have done, I'm like, okay, that's fine, right? The fact that we still have a lot of the allies that we made along the way, right? That was probably my favorite part of this campaign.
Matt?
There was a couple individual moments. Sorry, what did you say?
I just repeated the same question over and over again. Don't worry,
Oh, yeah.
5 times. You
Um,
know it.
Yeah, there's a moment earlier on when Obi went around selling potions and wherever that was, he took
Yeah.
that person's
Center
card.
points.
I had a lot.
At the festival.
Yeah, at Center Point, he just walked around selling. That was a lot of fun. And then when the festival got ruined and he got upset because his wish got ruined because of it, and then he talked to Ashrin about it. I really enjoyed that moment. And also, originally I wanted to play a wild magic sorcerer, which we obviously didn't end up doing, but going into Mistrala was the equivalent of a wild magic sorcerer.
Yeah, you got to do it, except
It was.
you just need to play the
And-
class.
Exactly, and it was a lot. Like, as horrifying it was, I think that was the best part of the campaign. Going through Mistrala with all the different effects, and like, I was never scared to cast. I wanted to cast more spells to see what would happen. I didn't give a shit.
It's because you were
So-
good at the table somehow.
You did do good on the table.
I want to see a
was lot of
wild
fun,
magic
yeah.
sorcerer in Mistralia now.
That magic
my
probably
God.
works normal.
Yeah.
They just cancel each other out.
I like the Joker.
Anything
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, but all the cards you dealt out to each of us in Australia, like the negative side effects, it was a lot of fun to have to. Everyone really bought into it,
Yeah, definitely.
whatever
I
the
do agree
effect
with
they got, and it was a lot of fun to see everyone play
Left, right, right.
that. I will finally come to Michaela. What did you enjoy about the campaign? Any moments that stood out for you?
Yeah, what I really liked about this campaign, which is kind of funny that now Josh is running the Wardens, but it very much gives to me Dragon Age Origins vibes of
Very.
just
Yes, very much.
being so small and trying to do something so big across a whole country. And so I guess that kind of epic feeling is what really drew me into the story. But yeah, I really like factions in games and stuff. So like, we have a good reputation with this faction versus a bad one with this other one. So I really liked how you did that. I also really liked the how much random encounters affected things for us. Like getting that freaking genie, that was so crazy. Who ruled that 100? Was that Jamal? And yeah, just like how we kept coming across the guy with the crazy books.
Yeah, you wrote him 3 times.
Yeah, so like in my games,
Did you make it out?
Huh?
Did he make it
Did he
out?
make
guy
it
with
out?
the books.
It probably, because I've got the cards to Milton.
Thank God someone will be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like in my games I do not do random encounters because I
I
don't
wrote
like
them
that
in a
kind of
cafe with
randomness.
Josh during Draftnor Key.
Yeah, I like things to be way more
It's still
controlled,
there.
and so I guess I like how willing you are to let just fucking random shit happen.
Chaos reign.
That is
And pay the
definitely a
price when
DMing skill.
pay
So,
the
yeah.
price when somebody uses a potion I never heard of and wrecks my NPC.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
it only remains for me to wax lyrical. But before I do, Matt, do you want
Yes.
to reveal, or shall I reveal, that you still like Fox more than Glacius?
I have to. I can
Please
reveal
give
the
us
chart.
the friend
I,
list.
I have to explain it though before I just say what the numbers are.
Okay.
Oh Jesus.
So when the campaign when I made OB, the idea was I made up this, I called the confident. We call it friend points. It wasn't actually friend points. It was more of a
Confidence
trust
points.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started off with -10 confidence. And the idea was and every single character started at 0. The idea was over the course of the campaign, things that Obi did would make him more confident. And once he got to 0, that's when he would start to have confidence in himself. He didn't get to 0 for honestly. It took a lot longer
You
than I
got
thought
back
it
from
would.
Australia.
Aww.
It took a long
Wow.
time for him. But it was basically Obi was everything that I did as Obi was going to be based off how you guys took to him. And obviously Sullivan took him to the most, and that's what Sullivan ended up having the most. But
Oh yeah, bitches.
Should we have
it
the
was,
scores?
the actual numbers. So the confidence level ended at a +4.
Wow.
Nice.
Is that good?
I think it started at
Better
-10.
than 0.
Yeah.
Lacey's had a 3. Ashton had a 4. Fox and Zarwell had a 5. Callum was a very late riser, had a 10, and Sullivan had an 11.
Wow, I was
It was a
second.
close race.
And it's been a very interesting journey for me keeping an eye on it, much like trying to watch Michaela
Wow.
manage her character sheets.
Well, I was going to say though, James, I think you misremembered because you said that Fox was in front of Sullivan. Fox was never at one point in front of Sullivan on this list. I don't know what you read. Sullivan was in first in the
Oh, I
beginning.
thought
know,
Fox
he was
was,
saying he
I
was
thought
ahead
Fox
of
was
me.
first when Fox left.
No, Sullivan was always in
Oh, okay.
first.
Sullivan
from
was
the
first
beginning.
and Fox was left. But he was close at the time.
Yeah.
And then-
But
yeah.
the way I would add a point was like there were one of the very first dungeons we were in. It was the one where Glacius got his like either the demon armor or his
demon
sword in the
armor.
beginning.
The
It might have been the sword.
halberd.
Yeah, the halberd. There was a time where we got separated accidentally, and Obi was completely by himself on the other side of the room, and all the enemies could attack him, and Fox went completely out of his way to like go across the room and just protect him, and like I gave him +1 for that. It was
Yeah.
things like that that would.
Yeah.
That's how I did it. It was a lot of fun doing it.
I'll take second place.
Yeah, but on that note, I would like to spend just a couple of minutes taking up your time before we finish, to talk about old Callum and his Sid that tried to kill him with his Werther's originals.
Oh boy.
Going back to the Magus Arcane and feeling sort of very confident and getting with places, but also being willing to take risks and sign up to the Furian Guard and go the other way in a brotherly relationship with Glacius, who was accepting of most of the things that he had to do, and yet was determined that no matter what it took, he would take the fight to the Shadow Vale and he would prevail. Frontline, sacrifice, or slightly dodgy and odd guy who is willing to do slightly evil things to succeed. One of the two.
I mean, he
throughout-
made himself a robot.
Throughout the
I-
entire campaign, Ashrin has danced her way across the ceilings and walls, and barely ever touched the floor. And when she did, she was still 600 fucking feet away. She's rolled more nat 20s in this campaign than the rest of the players combined.
Truly, oh my god.
She does have
Elven
elven accuracy. It is
accuracy.
literally the only reason. And steady aim. But she's rolled more nat 20s than anybody else combined, and to the point that it's become a living meme how much damage she did. Not to mention we gave her Starling as her secondary NPC, who also decks the shit out of
Who
you.
also did the exact same thing.
Sullivan
And
tried to do
Pip
the right
unlikely.
thing throughout, and everybody still fucking disagreed with him. And ended up getting married, which is the first in our campaigns. We've not really had anyone get to that point of a relationship, and it was definitely something new for me doing a romance as an NPC. It was even weirder doing it as a female, marrying my own husband. Zavril and Zavril on ice, bearing the mark of the Shadowvel on him, desperately writing the story of the Shadowhunters and releasing it out to the world. And a small shout out to the playing of Yen, who is a character who will be very fondly in our heart for the rest of time.
And alive.
But Obi, I have to say, for me, I think Obi personified the D&D character we all want to save. The D&D character that nobody wanted to die. Obi was cute and adorable from day one, and never really had the belief that he was powerful and strong. And yet, he was kind of like, he was a bit of a badass.
He's Keo.
And it really, for me and Darth especially, and Jamal to an extent, there was a really cute kobold in our first good Sogravia who really mattered, and
Yeah.
you fulfilled his role, and I ended up not needing him as an NPC, and it was really quite a touching moment. So I do want to say there was a special place in my heart for Obi for the rest of time. But this has been one hell of a journey. When I first set out to write Sogravia, it was meant to be a deep political intrigue campaign where you spent 5 levels in Jastern arguing with political factions and persuading them to be part of each other. And instead, you guys decided to just fucking go out and do the right thing and hope that everybody followed suit. And you know what? You wore your heart on your sleeve from minute 1 to the end. It was the Shadowhunters all the way. You absolutely fell in love with various NPCs, and there is almost nothing more gratifying for an DM than when people fall in love with your NPCs, and you took them right to the end with you, and
Busters.
from minute 1, the theme tune came in before you said it. From minute 1, when you when you got mugged on the road, Sullivan, after fixing someone's flute, to traveling to the Town of Darkness and getting people out, to going to Farron and realizing that the mages were using undead servants to defend the land, and you found your own Shadowvale, to every single time we crushed those Darkstones, to going to Thraxton, to the Drunken Dwarf, to seeing people getting stuck in there forever. To center point, from the pastries and pies to the tattoo artists, to selling potions all over the place, to those dodgy Yuanti that nobody ever remembers, to every single cat that talks.
I remember.
Good, I'm glad you did. To trying to teach Glacius to cook meatball subs for a genie, all the way through to rescue bandit group after bandit group after bandit group, to the goblins who only knew, to the gnomes, sorry, who only knew how to blow things up with potions and didn't know how to fix anything, all the way down to Kvatch and making Torgar back into the king, into the leader he was meant to be, to an endless sort of slightly romantic relationship with various different NPCs, from Arman and Starling and their budding romance, to our love for Torgar, Anvar, Charlotte, Felix, 4 goblins whose names will never be forgotten, to Bungle, to Varden Gast, the tree, to the genie that gave you his home, to the butler that resides inside it. From those arsehole Raynhams that nobody loved, to Kef Callahan, who you guys were willing to take his gold, all the way through to the elves that you never got to go home to, and the beginnings of Ashrin's past that she could never remember, to putting Zavril on ice and going into the Shadowvale land, and each one of you having to deal with your very own problems, whether you were furious, whether you were sad, whether you had lost your focus, you made it through because you remembered who you were and the friendships that you had with each other. And when you finally managed to save Private Zavril, you came home unprepared. You drew those factions together by going up to the giants and telling them to be good and be on our side, to going to the yellow knitted hat people and telling them to fuck right off, to killing their dragon.
Well, and that would be back.
And to kill their Dragolich dragon and not give a shit about their demon they sent after you, to going through the Underdark and dealing with various different terrifying monsters, and then going back to meet one single asshole drow,
Oh my
to
goodness.
joining the Furian Guard, to finding the burnout town, to visiting the Cloud Temple, or Dawn Temple, or Fortress of Dawn, or whatever the fuck it's called,
One of
to
those.
bringing the giants to the front line, to finally convincing every single person you could to get there, to allowing most of Sogravia to sacrifice themselves to take out that bastard that was Rock Asunder down, to surviving the final fight and going to Milton to fight once again. It's been one hell of a journey, but no matter how good a campaign you put in front of somebody, whether I did a good job or a bad job, it is only made by the players that we had with us. And I want to take one small moment before I thank each of you to remember that we started off with 7, not 6. And
Yeah.
Fox was the fucking healer.
Yeah.
Can you remember that?
A really
Really
fucking
good healer. With
Yeah.
potions.
Very good one.
And yet you fought on without him and fought on in his honor. And if there is one character who is going to make it to Milton and to Drafnor and drop in every now and again to give you a potion, it will be in memory.
Better
of
be
Jay.
Fox.
It's still alive, by the way, but just happens to work as a postman now.
Thank goodness.
Congratulations on his new job, but we do miss you. But finally, to the Shadowhunters, one and all, from Glacius to Ashrin, from Zavril to Sullivan, from Obi to Callum, to the honorary members of Arman, Marcus, Starling, not really Real, Bungle,
No, Rialden could be an honorary one.
No, he hasn't earned it.
He earned it at that end.
guys, you made this
Alright.
campaign. You built this campaign. You turned it into what it was. You did the right thing, and you kept at it and were determined that that's the way you were going to win, and you did. As best as anybody could have won. So, Shadowhunters, if you guys would like to say goodbye.
We have to.
Bye.
Does anyone remember the name of our neighbor?
No, Raymond. Raymond.
Fuck no.
If the Shadowhunters would like to say goodbye,
Goodbye.
Until next
Bye.
campaign.
we'll see you in Milton.
Bye.